Salve discipuli. Alright, we're going to take a look at lesson 47 grammar. And to be totally honest with you, I could not teach this to you and you would probably be able to figure it out just fine. As long as you handle these sentences the same way we've been handling the vast majority of sentences we've come across, you'd be okay. So let's take a look at a sentence that has a new concept. Whoops, let me try that again. Let's look at a sentence that has this new concept in it. Okay, the sentence goes, omne scimus quid spectat. Okay, the first time through, we're just going to pretend that this verb in the parentheses does not exist. Okay, so hopefully we quickly recognize that this sentence has two main verbs, okay, which means we have two clauses. We're probably all able to recognize that the clauses will be divided at the quid. And then, really, if we just tackle these two clauses by themselves, you're probably going to translate this exactly correctly. Okay, over here we have omne scimus. Notice the mus, which tells us the subject is we. And omnes here is going to actually be nominative. So it's we all. Okay, so we all know. Then over here we have quid, which can mean what. And then spectat, which means he is watching. So we all know what he is watching. Okay, that's pretty easy. We all know what he is watching. Alright, what if instead this sentence had been quid spectaverit? Okay, so this right here was a present subjunctive. This with the ERI is a perfect subjunctive. Well, this is going to be just like one of those time relationship situations that we just learned about. So we all know what he was watching. Okay, it's time before. All right? Make sense? Let's look at another one. Mater rogavit ubi esse. So we've got two main verbs, rogavit and esse. Perhaps we recognize that ss is an imperfect subjunctive. It's got the infinitive esse right in there, plus an ending. We've got two main verbs, so we obviously must have two clauses. We'll divide at the ubi. Okay? We end up with mater rogavit, mother asked, ubi essis, where, notice the subject, where you were. Mother asked where you were. This could also be mother asked where you would be. Okay, so you can hear the same time relationship or the time after relationship. If, on the other hand, instead of ss, we had fuisis, all right, this being a pluperfect subjunctive, you can tell from the isse, and this therefore showing time before the main verb, we would say, mother asked where you had been. Okay? Now, what are we looking at here? This is what's called an indirect question. Right? Mother asked, where were you? So the question is, where were you? The indirect reporting of the question is, mother asked where you were. Alright, that's an indirect question. What's in an indirect question? It's going to have something like a head verb, most likely. Okay, up here we had mother asked, we all know. Okay, it's usually going to have something like a head verb. Then it's going to have an interrogative word, a word that asks a question, like we had what or where. Those are interrogative words that ask a question. There are a whole heck of a lot of possibilities for these. Words like quis, quid, who or what. Qui, quae, quod, which can mean which. Okay? Cur, meaning why. Quote, a brand new word, meaning how many. Quantus aum, meaning how great. ubi, meaning where. Okay, and there are a lot more than that. I can't list them all. It would be ridiculous to do so. But any word asking a question. Then you have a subjunctive verb. And that, of course, is why we're learning about this now, because we've just learned subjunctive verbs. So head verb, most likely. Interrogative word, then subjunctive verb. In terms of translation, you'll notice there's nothing fancy here. Okay, you pretty much just translate it as it's written and you'll be fine. So let's try another one right here. So we've got Dux hostium nescit qua via iter fecerimus. So we're going to leave out the faciamus for a second. Our two main verbs are nescit and fecerimus. Okay, notice the ERI here. That's a perfect subjunctive. Oh, it's so hard to write with these things. Ooh, I'm pretty proud of that. All right, that's a perfect subjunctive, so we know it's going to be time before the main verb. Okay, where are we going to divide our clause? Admittedly, that might be tricky to find, but it's in front of the qua. Qui, quae, quod words often start clauses. Okay, do we have a nominative over on this half? That's right, dux is nominative. Okay, over on this half, do we have a nominative? Nope, we're just going to have to work off of the mus. In all honesty, iter could be nominative, but I know for a fact it's going to be accusative because I wrote this. So number 3, nominative to verb. So the leader does not know. But look, it's the leader hostium, third declension genitive. The leader of the enemy does not know. Qua via, this is ablative, right? Long A. The leader of the enemy does not know by which road we made the journey. Okay? Right now, the leader of the enemy does not know by which road we made the journey before. Okay? If, on the other hand, we had, instead of using this perfect subjunctive, if we had used this present subjunctive, faciamus, with the IA, we beat a liar, friar. The leader of the enemy does not know by what road we are making the journey, or by what road we will make the journey. All right, at the same time or time after. Let's take a peek at number 4. All right, so again, we're going to leave out the widerimus for now. We're going to go with the widissimus, and we've got a main verb of cupit, but we also have an infinitive, scire. Interesting. Okay, quantas is one of these new interrogative words. That's going to start our clause. Okay, on the left side, do we have a nominative somewhere? That's right, servus. Okay, so on the left half we have the slave of the farmer desires to know. Okay, the slave of the farmer wants to know. And this whole thing works together as kind of a head verb, right? Wants to know. On the other half, quantas and feminas are accusative. Okay, so the slave of the farmer wants to know what great women we had seen. Okay? Oh my gosh, I made a mistake here. Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. This should say cupiwit. Oh boy. Somebody's going to get fired. Alright. There. Mistake very slowly fixed. Okay, so the slave of the farmer wanted to know what great women we had seen. Okay, here the time before, wanted to know, we had seen. Okay, that's because this is a pluperfect subjunctive with its issimus. If it had been the widerimus, the imperfect subjunctive, the time relationship would have been different. If it had been widerimus, it would be the slave of the farmer wanted to know what great women we saw. Or, time after, the slave of the farmer wanted to know what great women we would see. Alright, gentlemen, That's it. Under 10 minutes. That's your introduction to the indirect question. Make sure you have good notes for tomorrow. Later.